He had leather armchairs. He had visitors coming and going all day long. They said, enough of this. You're not getting any more special privileges. Al Capone, Mr. Big Shot, is going to go to Alcatraz. He's going to become Alcatraz number 85 and have all the same rights and privileges that every other prisoner had. So at Alcatraz, you had just 4 rights: food, clothing, shelter, and medical attention. Everything else was a privilege that you had to earn. And it doesn't matter if you're Al Capone or John Doe. Same for everybody here. So again, for everyone coming off the boat, welcome to Alcatraz, and please join us here on the dock for just a few moments, and we'll get you off on your way in just a couple of minutes. Now, April 15th is also a very historically significant day. Now, I'll tell you, this day in history, several things happened that were very big news here in American history. On April 15th, in 1865, President Abraham Lincoln passed away in Washington, D.C. after being shot the night before by John Wilkes Booth in Washington at Ford's Theater. Now, Abraham Lincoln never came to Alcatraz, but he did play a role in certain Alcatraz events. And one event was a conspiracy among Confederate sympathizers. They were out in San Francisco, a group called the Knights of the Golden Circle, and they wanted to get San Francisco and this important bay, this important harbor, into the hands of the Confederacy. During that time, the gold was still coming down from the Sierra foothills, and San Francisco was an important port to have. And so they came up with an idea of taking a small ship called the Chapman, and they were going to take it out the Golden Gate. They were going to capture a merchant ship, take it down to Mexico, refit it, turn it into a warship, bring it back up here, and conduct naval warfare against the Union ships. Now, a couple of things happened, foiled that plot. Mostly, the captain of the boat was in the bars in San Francisco, bragging about his role in this alleged conspiracy. And before they got too far, they got captured out in San Francisco Bay, brought here to Alcatraz. They took them up the road, just about 100 yards was the guardhouse. They put them in there, where they stayed until President Abraham Lincoln pardoned them, and they were removed from Alcatraz. And so, you hear about Alcatraz, you know about the famous prisoners like Al Capone, hear about the cell house. You go through it on the audio tour, but there's lots of stories that tell lots of different histories of Alcatraz that you can learn about today. So even Abraham Lincoln's death has some relevance back here to Alcatraz. Another thing that happened today, April 15th, 1912, the Titanic sinks in the Atlantic. So maybe I shouldn't bring this up to anyone who's superstitious, because we're all on an island now, and I have to take the boat to get back to San Francisco. So say your prayers, do a little good luck dance, we'll all make it back okay to San Francisco. Another thing that happened today, 1947, Jackie Robinson took the field in Brooklyn, New York, and became the first African-American baseball player in the major leagues here in the United States. So major event, yeah, let's give a round of applause there. Now, in 1947, at Alcatraz, still a lot of segregation. You'll hear about on the audio tour, African Americans were kept in a separate area of the cell house from other prisoners. Both, both sides, of course, not seeing eye to eye, and a lot of tension a lot of times throughout the years of Alcatraz's operation as a federal prison there as well. Now, finally, on April 15th, in 1943, an inmate named Floyd Hamilton was on the north end of the island, and he was sitting in a cave. Why was he sitting in a cave? Well, 2 days earlier, he and a couple of his associates escaped out of the Industries building on the north end of the island. They got into the water, and they were spotted. The guards started to open fire. One of the inmates was killed. The others were recaptured, and Floyd Hamilton was missing. Well, we saw him swimming in the water. We saw him go under the water. We were all firing on him. The warden issues a statement to the press. Floyd Hamilton is dead. We saw him go under. Floyd Hamilton happened to crawl back into a cave right after the guards had searched it, and he hid behind some tires that had floated in there, and they didn't spot him. So he waited in that cave for 2 days to try to get the courage, try to find a way to get out of that cave and swim to freedom. So he was in that cave at low tide. It was okay. You know, he would sit there and get bit by crabs and bide his time. At high tide, the water would come up almost to his chin. And so after 2 days of this, April 15th, he was still out there. The next day, April 16th, he climbed back up the cliffs of Alcatraz, got into the Industries building, laid down next to a radiator, and he was found in the morning when the guards came to do their rounds. So Floyd Hamilton has the unique distinction of being the only inmate to ever escape into Alcatraz.